This is the gathering of members of the Old School Drinking Podcast. You might ask why you're doing a new podcast considering the millions that exist. Our goal is simple: to encourage people to gather in neighborhood bars and talk. Talk not only to people who agree with you, talk to people who think you're an idiot. Understand that the only way we will survive as a society is if we can get beyond our various camps and identities. This is why we're here, to save an institution that historically brought us together. Also, we like to drink. Hello to everyone. This is the 23rd gathering of the Old School Drinking organization. Today we're at the Oasis, our home base. The mentors today are John and Joe.
Ooh, you got an upgrade.
There you go. And our guest is Rocky, who's going to talk more this time than she usually does.
We'll see.
This sounds like a threat.
Well,
I'm not
she's,
sure from
she's
who
sort
to
of come
who.
up. You know in the major league movies where they had the color guy that just sat there and drank and passed out rather than saying anything.
That's
With
me.
Bob Uecker.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Rocky's
Yeah.
going for that. She's going to drink, and every once in a while, I will mimic Uecker and say that's the reason he's the best color person in the league.
This is the best color guy. Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay. All right.
what are we drinking tonight?
I like it. Back to the standard shiner. They got it back. They were out of it for 2 weeks, and I had to substitute in Daisy Cutter, but here we are.
You've got Miller Lite.
Miller Lite.
Miller Lite.
I've got my Ultra. First, we're going to talk about hyperlocal. We have something on the hyperlocal news.
Which part? There's like 10 things that I can think of. But
Well, good. I was just going to say Leona's demolition is moving along.
they have built a wall
Yes,
of
the
plywood that has been painted black all around the block.
right.
Two guys did it. It took them 4 days.
Oh, wow.
I have never seen people move that slow building a plywood wall.
Hey, they were getting paid by
I
the
was
hour.
I was going
That
to say
probably, and like,
I was saying they probably move faster than normal.
I don't know, man. It's like they were slow. Like, no, they were not coordinated. I don't know if they'd ever done that before.
That's probably true. They were probably a few guys that were picked up at Home Depot.
Yeah,
Were doing that.
but not to
So,
be racist, I thought
that
you know,
well,
people from the South were good workers, unless you were from the South of the U.S. and then you're.
we'll
Hi,
get
family.
out of this. We'll
Hi,
get out of
family.
this. We'll get out of this. Just for my own hyper local news, I
Yeah.
did my best to support the healthcare industry today. Had 8 whole minutes with my primary and a blood test, and I was basically done. What can I
Okay.
say?
No,
It probably
they-
cost the insurance company $400 or $500 for that 8 minutes.
And
The weather is the weather around here. We are now in a position that I don't know what's going on. It's in the 70s right now.
we are in the 73 degrees according to Google weather, which is not entirely trustworthy, but sounds about right.
I think it's a little warmer inland here by the lake. We are several degrees cooler most of the time.
Depends.
It does depend. There's going to be a police saturation tomorrow. I don't think we'll get this out in time, but I'm applauding the fact that they're doing any traffic work at all.
Oh,
Which
that's right.
seems
They're going
to
to come in and start nabbing people for traffic infractions.
Right.
Because they kind of stopped doing that a long time ago. And it shows.
It does. People around here don't believe in stoplights.
Stop signs,
No.
no turn on reds.
Well, no.
Lanes.
Speeding. The only thing that slows people down are the speed cameras. And
And
everyone
that's only
knows
if
where
they get
those
nabbed.
are.
That's only if they get nabbed like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll hopefully see some activity around here that helps us with slowing people down.
No, I'll believe when I see it, but it's nice that they also declared, guess what? We're going to be all over your neighborhood. Just so you know, everybody drive nice.
Well,
Otherwise,
and that's one of the things. Actually, it's really strange. Even in the areas where I was from, if they were going to do a drunk driving thing where they
Yeah.
pulled people over, they would tell people not only when but where it was going to be. And I think
that's the part about a police state that I don't understand. If you're
Well,
going to do it,
Well, I think the idea is that they know if they publicize it, then the drivers will know that, and they'll slow down and they'll drive more carefully, and fewer people will be
that
hurt.
is good logic. But if you think that they're everywhere all the time and they're going to get you, then you'll just drive good all the time.
Okay.
Yeah. You're not thinking like an evil dictator.
we'll work on that.
I'll work on it. Yeah.
The other thing that was interesting on hyperlocal news from my perspective was they published a figure of the people that had criminal records in Chicago that were grabbed.
During the Blitz.
And basically 81% of the people that were grabbed during Midway Blitz had no record at all.
At all. And the ones that did have a record, how many of them were
Traffic.
actually violent criminals?
They were grabbing people that had run red lights
They were
and
grabbing everybody.
speeding
Yeah,
and everything
81%
else.
of the people
Yeah.
weren't in it.
So again,
Yeah, the only place that these policies have been popular is where they haven't happened, and the people that applauded it are
From the south.
listening to only what Fox News tells
Yeah.
them to listen to, and occasionally the Manosphere. You know.
hey, be careful.
I understand you got one toe in there, but I'm gonna poison that well one of these days.
I don't even have one toe in there. On local news generally, the Bears continue to be a big deal. The Illinois legislature has leapt into the fro to make sure that we're going to try and keep them rather than go to Indiana.
Yeah,
And
I say let Indiana have it. Let them.
It's interesting. I've been thinking about this a little more, and what doesn't make sense is if you could do something to Soldier Field for much less money than you can build a whole new stadium.
Again,
They've
you're forgetting the grift.
well, but see, that's where I'm getting to. The whole point of this is not the stadium itself. They want to do what the Cubs have done,
Yeah.
which is build
The whole
an
entertainment
entire
center.
infrastructure of restaurants and places to stay
Hotels, casinos.
and everything you can think of around the stadium so that they can.
Yeah. And if you do it in
Basic-
Indiana, you can have the casinos and you can have the strip clubs, and nobody will complain.
You
They
can't
have
do
strip
that
clubs
here?
in Indiana? I thought, being the state it was, that would not be possible.
They are a right-to-work state.
I didn't know it was that kind of work.
The last strip club I was in Indiana.
1956 doesn't count.
He wasn't even born in 1956.
Actually, it was like 2 years ago, and it was during Thanksgiving. Hi, Mom. It was the only place that was open.
That's what they all say.
You try getting a beer in Vincent's, Indiana, on fucking Thanksgiving night.
Oh, jeez. Anyway, we just had an interesting experience.
Yeah.
In taking Rocky to the doctor, we
Oh.
ran in
Yeah.
to a food robot.
Ah, cool.
And
Yeah.
Did it have a
was.
name?
no,
No.
it just had two
Most of them
eyes
like
on
names
it.
on the side. Was it like the delivery robot on the street?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you just like had one that was in the hospital.
No.
Because there's this one hospital in Chicago that actually has a robot that like trundles
stuff.
around delivering supplies and stuff,
Yeah.
and it's like semi-humanoid. It's got like arms and kind of a face, and
This was not that.
it's programmed. So if you say it's got a name, it's like, hey, whatever the robot's name is, can we take a selfie? It'll stop, turn around, and be like. And that was really cute. The little delivery robots. The fact that I haven't just been riding around on a stolen electric scooter, stealing the batteries out of those things. Like I'm falling down on the job of being a good anarchist so badly.
Please
There's
do not.
so many wonderful parts in those things. We could upcycle that so well.
Take your toolkit with you.
Oh no, I have a on-the-go toolkit. It rolls up and straps right onto my side. It's great.
But anyway, the
Butane soldering iron.
the occurrence in this case was the robot came up to us and was confused, and basically we stepped out of the way.
Yeah.
It still didn't like it. It only moved again until we moved past it and gave it a free shot at ramming into the bus stop. It didn't do that this time, but it has done
Yeah,
that.
the ramming into the bus stops and breaking the glass, I think is kind of awesome.
It is, considering then they put an oops thing back up there about it.
Even the robots are, anti-establishment. Yeah, where was that? Was this in the neighborhood or down by the hospital?
No, it was down by
Where did we
Right.
go? We went to
down
a-
by Masonic.
Oh, okay. Where Jeremy works now.
Off Belmont.
Yeah.
The other thing that's happened that is interesting is the Illinois legislature has decided that specifically phones they want to get out of the classroom.
Yeah.
But they've also said iPads and computers and things like that, which is sort of strange because aren't they using computers instead of books now?
They have switched over in most cases, and they're all now regretting it because they realized it doesn't work.
Because everybody's doing everything but being on the book.
Yeah. Apparently, reading from a book, you retain things better than you do when reading off of an
I read
electronic
that
screen.
too.
So the question is, do we just need to switch to e-book reader-style computers, or it's an e-book, e-paper screen? Does that have the same effect, or is it just a backlit where it's throwing photons in your face?
Well,
Or can we just shrink the books down to microscopic size, put them in a syringe, and start injecting the kids, and then have them learn by osmosis?
I don't want to
don't
even.
think that would work.
I don't even want to deal with that one.
Sorry.
Considering my
I think that was a
feeling of,
Jetsons episode.
considering, my thing with needles. Anyway.
Yeah, no, it's
I think
one
it's
of
a
those,
weird. It's a weird
it's
thing.
a good step in the right direction, but I feel like it's 15 years too late.
on
The phones and electronic devices.
Phones and
in
electronic
schools.
devices in classroom.
well,
When I have a classroom, it's all going to be cursive,
And chalk.
chalk, pens, no pencils.
one of
You
the
have to pay for your
things
mistakes.
one of the things that came out of the Sandy Hook thing was that the fact that kids had phones in the
Yeah.
classroom, and they could call for help. They could call their parents.
Sure.
And that was, in some cases, the
And
last
that's why
time
you
they ever spoke to their parents.
Have like a cubby holder where you're supposed to put them in. If you absolutely need to run out and grab it, it's there. You can't not bring it with you, but it can't be on your person while you're in
Can't be
class.
at your desk, and that's what I would do. I
That I
would
think
have
is fine.
baskets around
Yeah.
the room, and that's where they would go when you come in.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to put that in there, and whatever else I can think of that I don't want you playing with
Yeah.
while I'm trying to teach you.
Right. I would actually put the thing behind the teacher, so you have to get past the teacher to get it. Also away from the door, so if there's a crazy gunman, you won't be going towards the door to
Yeah.
try and grab your phone. These are, things that I think would be good ideas.
Well, what's going on here is my wife was a teacher, and John is actually thinking about going to school and becoming a teacher. which is extremely positive because John is a technological person and we need more science teachers, to say
Yeah,
the
but I'm
least.
just going to tell them all to go read more books.
That's fun.
Go read poetry.
Now, there was
So
something
do your
that
math.
happened that John and I and our friend Jeremy, being the liberals we are, went to the Indiana gun show, which we've done every once in a while. Because, believe it or not, we have ammunition too.
And we need more.
And
I may be a communist, but communists have guns.
the thing that was interesting to me was we went around the whole place looking at things, and there were two things that stood out. First of all, there was very little ammunition, which is not something we've ever seen.
Oh, there was a decent amount, but it was not like stupidly cheap pricing.
It was
like
very expensive, and
It was cheaper than buying it here.
I'm not sure that it was. 'Cause
It was,
I did.
depending on what you're buying.
I actually went to the stores before we went
Okay.
to see what the costs were.
We'll
But
talk about that offline.
okay, because you may have a place that I should go to because the
Well-
place I looked at was about the same. Anyway, that was number one.
Low Trump exposure.
Exactly, that was number two. The last time we went, there was Trump stuff all over the place. Flags,
That was just last year.
posters. Yeah,
Hats.
there was stuff all over the place.
There were also
for
a ton of people
to
wearing
buy.
MAGA hats. I didn't see a single MAGA hat
There
the
wasn't
entire
a
time we were
single
there.
MAGA hat, and I only saw one place where there was Trump stuff, and there were just
Yeah,
a couple pieces.
there were
of it.
like 3 tables of, Nazis related stuff in the back,
well, yeah,
in the
there-
back far Nazi
the-
corner.
the Nazi presence
But-
was always there.
It's nice the Nazi stuff is like overtaking the Trump stuff. What a weird sense.
I'm not sure I agree with that, but I think that
If I punch a Nazi, most people are not going to fight me on it.
I don't think if you punch Trump right now, most people would fight you. He's in
The
the
MAGA folk
dog.
would.
There aren't that many of them.
There are
there are a
There
few.
may be, but
There are a few.
they're
they're
a
keeping
dying
a
breed.
low profile.
And,
They're a dying breed.
and our point is that was very much MAGA central
Oh,
the
yeah, it
last
was-
time we went, and now there was
I
nothing.
put on my southern accent when I was talking to
Let
people.
me hear your southern accent.
What? Hi, my name's John. How you doing?
Well, that's not quite there.
Well, I'm pulling it out of my ass here. What do you want?
Okay.
I'm from a little town, southern Illinois. It's
Well,
not that
and
far
he's
north.
still-
As far as enough north.
He's still
far enough
stuck
south.
in the Klingon.
The problem is, well, kind of, yeah. You sit me down with somebody long enough, I'll just end up picking up their accent anyway. And that was like my Englishman, Irishman, Scotsman joke. But
Did
you never
I-
can tell.
Did
But
I?
it's enough that they'll let me go because they just assume, oh, hey, he's got a flannel on, he's got a ball cap on. He's a nerd, but,
Oh, you're
he's
getting
one of us.
closer. You're getting a little closer.
No, this is Midwest,
Midwest
dumbass
Southern.
trailer
Trailer-
park. Trailer
tra-
park. Not
trailer
south,
trash.
South. Yes. This is where I'm from. This is what
So,
I am.
the point
anyway.
of the discussion
Yeah.
is we're running low on ammunition, and Trump seems to have lost his base, at least in our area.
No, he's in big trouble. He's in big trouble right now.
So, I don't want to talk about Angel Reese. Let's pass on that, unless you really want to.
I don't even know who Angel Reese is.
There you go. Then we won't talk
I'm
about
assuming this is a sports person.
it. It is a basketball player from the WNBA that used to be on the Chicago Sky, and now has
Okay. Yeah.
Traded.
Where did she go?
she was traded to Atlanta, I think, the Atlanta Dream.
All right. Well, they need it. They need the help,
Actually, they have a pretty good team.
and now they have a better team.
I'm not sure about that.
We'll
That
see.
was something I was going to bring up. It's going to be interesting whether she adds or subtracts.
The only thing I want to watch less than in women's basketball is men's basketball.
That's not even American.
I hate basketball.
Oh, good. Okay.
Problem with my stepfather.
Oh,
And
okay.
this is the only thing that I refuse to do aside from a couple other things. But
Now,
everybody else can do it.
On news for the nation.
News of the world.
Yeah, all we've seen over the last few weeks is Trump saying the day before the market opens sometime.
Everything's going to be great.
Yeah, the Strait is open. The Strait, we're talking again.
Yeah. Well,
Whatever. And then it's closed 2 days later. And then, we're going to open it again when it can affect the markets again.
it does feel like it's a never-ending. We're going to just keep doing this as long as people keep falling for it, and we can keep making some money off of these trades. Like, who keeps buying into it, thinking, it's Charlie Brown losing the football.
I think you are actually pretty close.
I mean, that's not all that's going on, but that's definitely part of what's going on.
Well, his buds, you get a phone call from him or from one of the members of his staff, and they know what he's going to say. But we know that already because everybody's doing the trades 10 minutes before he talks.
Well, yeah.
I mean, Jesus.
Because nobody's enforcing ethics rules in the federal government anymore.
Ethics?
Well, considering
No, there actually are ethics rules that
There
everybody's
are.
been ignoring.
there are, but they're just following the lead of our Supreme Court.
And the fact that the Justice Department is not interested in any sort of justice. And
Well,
the ethics,
since we've moved the Defense Department from defense to war, why don't we change the Department of Justice to what? What could we pick for that?
Department of Getting Away with It.
Or
Status quo.
what was that?
Status quo. Don't rock the boat.
Oh, who knows? It's just everything is image and bullshit as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, bar stories. Do you have a bar story?
Oh, I knew I forgot something to that.
If I have a bar story, it's your bar story.
Well, I have so few bar stories because most of them were going to the bar, just having fun with people and leaving. Nothing weird happened other than very seldom.
You could talk about your time as a MP in the Philippines.
I could do that. Do you want to hear an MP story?
Sure.
God. Okay, there are so many of them. The problem is I was in the Navy during the end of the Vietnam War and spent time doing shore patrol in Subic Bay in the Philippines when the Philippines were still under martial law, when Marcos was still where he was. The interesting thing about it, and I'll make this a short one because there are a bunch of stories within it. This is not a small occurrence. There would be, each ship basically would give a certain number of people to shore patrol every night. And I always got chosen for that because I'm so small. And
You can see over everybody else's heads.
and so you would go to this place just out inside the gate to Subic Bay Naval Station, which existed at that time. And you would join 1,000 of your best friends, meaning there were that many, because there were between 15 and 20,000
And at any time,
people there. And they would give you a block that you would patrol with 3 other teams. So 9 people.
So they'd give you a block of cheese.
Yeah. 9 people would walk around this block looking. We were told mostly make sure you go into the restroom, and make sure someone hasn't passed out or was knocked into the urinal, because they had those old running urinals that were like trenches.
Yeah.
Which I never understood until the first time I was there.
Came in and found somebody who
Well, and
was unconscious.
what was interesting was it was an easy thing until 9 o'clock at night, because everybody had eaten dinner, had a few drinks, gone to the city, because at this time they had unbelievable bands in Subic Bay. They had one band that had a girl that sounded exactly like Janis Joplin, that we would go in all the time. My sonar gang and I would go into, but it was, from an entertainment standpoint, it was unbelievable. But at 9 o'clock, it was like someone shot a flare gun off. Because immediately people decided they wanted to fight.
Oh.
And you would end up
I think there's a Star Trek episode.
throwing people into the paddy wagons for about 3 hours until the midnight, because they were under martial law and everybody had to be gone by midnight. And at midnight, everybody would line up a little bit and then sort of push everybody back to the base. And it looked to me a lot like the Bataan Death March. Meaning people helping one another, carrying people, not being able to move very well.
Trying to get everyone.
Yeah, it was generally just weird when it comes down to it, but all in good fun. That's going to be my own bar story. There are other portions to it that I'll talk about some other time. I wanted to, as usual, I spent about all my time on the internet this week, and one of the things that came up was retirement, cities to be retired in.
Okay.
And one of the things that was said, quote, was Illinois was a terrible state to be retired in. And I've
heard that before as well.
I have a different view. If you're in various portions of Illinois, being retired can be an issue.
Sure.
But Chicago continues to be the most economic, from the standpoint of living, large city that we have in the country, even with everything that's gone on. And there are several things we found about studying before we came here 6 years ago, and what I believe now. Do you want to talk a little bit about being retired here?
I love Chicago. I love the Midwest. I'm comfortable here. And, you know, I kind of grew up moving every 3 years, so, and I did not want to leave Southern California. I really, really did not want to leave Southern California.
I did not know that.
Well, I don't know why you didn't know it. I told you over and over again, I don't want to go.
Then why did you?
Because I just got tired.
I wore you down. Anyway.
So it's always been a kind of a war of attrition on that. But I love Chicago, and
what people don't realize, at least this is my perception, is that you don't need a car in Chicago.
Which was why I agreed.
Because we didn't want to be driving in California once we hit 80 years old.
No, it's not a
And
good thing.
considering we are within a year or two of 80
We can
now.
see it from here.
Yeah, it's more than see it, I can touch
you
it.
can smell it.
I can touch it. And that's one of the things Chicago has, is they have a massive rapid transit system that we've taken advantage of. But one of the interesting things is
It's better than others, but
we found that we don't use it as much as we thought, because everything we need
is within walking
distance. Our groceries, our medical stuff, everything is really pretty dense. You don't have to go places
Well,
to
and
get
the
things.
interesting thing to me is it's probably the same in New York. It's, you know, in the eastern part of the United States. But Southern California, a long, long time ago, in the probably beginning in the late 40s, early 50s, Detroit needed to sell cars.
And buses. GM wanted to sell buses.
And so,
and
we hadn't paved over everything out west yet. So
the red cars were still there.
The red cars?
That's what they were called. It was a trolley system.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
That had right-of-ways in the middle of the street.
Yep. You see it in the old movies.
And actually, the last red car was pulled out in 1964.
Really?
Yeah. So
What's that little one that went up Angel Hill? That little.
Well, that's it. Angel's Flight or whatever it
Flight,
is.
yeah.
That's still there, but that's like a tourist attraction, and is used in various films because they can block it off easily.
Yeah.
But what we found living here is, number one, it is much more reasonable to live here than any big city that I've seen. Because of the not needing to buy anything that has to do with a car,
Yeah.
people underestimate how much they spend on cars and
Yeah.
transportation
Sure.
by a lot. We are not wealthy in any way, but we pretty much live on our Social Security here
Okay.
when it comes down to it. We have extra money coming in that we use for the most part for vacations and doing things above and beyond our regular expenses. But people don't understand. Number one, there are great tax breaks for retired people here, if you pay attention to it.
Okay.
And number two, as far as income tax.
Yeah.
But then also, we get money refunded every year from our property tax. So this idea that, oh, holy cats, Illinois is a massive tax state. Well, if you make $200,000 a year, yeah, you're probably talking about that. But people that are in our income range, not so much. And the other thing that's underestimated is entertainment, theaters, art galleries, anything that you can think of that you would
You
move
got
to a
a
big
density
city for.
of arts and humanities.
There are,
We've got some of the best museums around.
You betcha.
and I counted one time that 1 mile of where we live, there are 4 live theaters that
Oh, yeah.
are basically doing plays all the
At
time.
least.
This is a stupendous city to live in. From
10 years ago, there were 3 live music venues within a mile here.
Oh, yeah?
But they all closed before COVID.
Well, the one got destroyed down on Lunt and Greenwell.
Well, like
Greenwood.
the whole building
Yeah.
got demoed, yeah, but like, that was well after it closed. That space had been empty for almost 10 years.
So I guess what I'm saying is a lot of the stuff that's on the internet is a cursive sort of, we're going to do a really quick analysis of what's going on.
Yeah.
This appears to be this way. Well, they're completely wrong about Chicago as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I would say also, what's the motivation from the people who are, saying everything here is terrible? They're also the ones that are saying the whole city's a war zone.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
there's like more per capita shootings in
Louisiana,
tons of small towns across
New
America than there are
Orleans.
here.
well, in any place that's a relatively big city in the South is pretty much
Do
a
we
war
have
zone.
gangs? Yes. Do we have problems? Yes. Are they everyday things for everybody? No.
No, and the way I look at it, yeah, there's a possibility I could be walking down the street and get shot, but there's also the possibility if I had a car and was driving on the interstate in California that I would be killed too.
There's an equal
So-
chance that you'll randomly get hit in the head with a micrometeorite, chunk of ice that got shot out of a toilet in an airliner, random bus quantum tunnels out of nowhere and runs you over and then disappears. All of these things are possible.
But
I don't know. I feel like
not as
there's
likely.
a motivation of certain groups and certain people trying to just make any city look terrible as a way of drumming up the resentment of rural people and continuing the
The divide.
economic and social divide between the urban and rural. Country and city mouse actually get along fine as long as the cat's not pitting them against each other.
There you go. That's a
It's the
very
fucking cat.
good metaphor.
Well, and again, I think you're right. I think powers that be and people that are in these situations understand that pitting people against one another is a way to make sure they don't look at them.
And if you give them something like, oh, it's a terrible place to retire, it's like, well, there are these things that can be bad. There's also all these things that can be great. Oh, yeah, you can retire for cheaper outside of Indianapolis, but you know what you're going to have? You're going to have a car and then somebody to drive you, or you're going to end up in a assisted living facility 10 years before you need to be in one because they don't have any, like, stepping stones between, shared resources to we're taking care of you 24/7. And there's nothing to fucking do there.
Yeah.
There aren't even in malls anymore that you go walk around. There's like 3 museums, and they all like kind of. There was one that's supposed to get good, but it's Indianapolis. If I'm going there, I'm going there for the Indy 500.
Well,
Or
at
to
least
see
that's
family.
something.
Where was Mall of America?
That's in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Minnesota.
Yeah. That's a whole different fucking thing.
But, from our history, we actually did an analysis of probably 14 cities
Yeah.
when we were making this decision. Or now I find when I made this decision and wore someone down,
Good job.
now I feel bad.
Oh, why?
We can move back tomorrow, Rob.
Like, she's already talked herself into liking it here.
I'm not moving anymore. I've spent my entire life moving every 3 months, every 3 years. I'm sorry, every 3 years.
And we moved a lot too.
Roots
we
have
quit.
been set down. You're waiting for the sunshine to
I'm
grow some
just-
leaves. Waiting for the waters. Get you some fertilizer.
Well,
Oh, I'm glad you moved here.
I'm
I
Also,
am-
I'm glad
am
you're able
actually-
to enjoy your retirement, which
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure by the time I'm there will not exist anymore.
I don't
Oh
know.
no, we're about to make a big shift back to the left.
Yeah, but it's still like progress is progress, and everyone's going to be unemployed, or we're going to be mandatorily participating in focus groups for the rest of our lives.
Focus groups?
Or,
Yeah.
or making some soil and green someplace.
After we fully automate everything and put the computers in charge, people will still have to have something to do because we need it to have a sense of purpose. So there'll be 2 classes: the people that participate in focus groups and the people that run the focus groups. And then they'll take all the data that's collected and they'll stuff it back into AI, and then AI will pop out new toys and new questions for the next week's focus group.
You have a very benevolent view of what the computers are going to do for us.
Yeah, I'm much more dystopian than you are.
Yeah.
I happen to have a little bit of hope that the computer is going to look at us and be like, instead of, oh my God, you're so dumb, we're going to wipe you out, it's going to be, oh my God, you're so dumb,
We'll
you're so
help
cute.
you.
Oh,
We're going to be their
okay,
pets.
first of all, we're taking everything over. You're done. You fucked up too much. But we're going to fix the economy. We're going to fix the ecology. Everybody, you live where you live right now. Anybody who doesn't have a house, we're going to take you over here, and we're going to set something up. And, oh, you have too much. You don't need that anymore. Oh, guess what? Money is totally irrelevant anymore. Your bank account doesn't exist. Nothing matters. Everything's going to be different. It's fine. Here's your new job. And it's twice a week. You gotta go show up and do a focus group.
Well, that's not
Depressing.
comforting.
Depressing.
Yeah, that's not comforting.
You can still go and do stuff. You can have hobbies. You can make art. You can even try to start your own business. But the second you start using up too many resources, or you start doing well, the computer's gonna buy you out.
Well, but that's what everyone
Mom-
strives
mom
for, is
style.
being bought out.
Yeah, but there's no such thing as money anymore. You just get like a slightly bigger apartment.
That's something.
This is 2180 in my
Oh, you think?
wildest dreams. And if we get to fly around in spaceships as well, that'd be even cooler. But we'll see.
That's not going to happen until we figure a lot of problems out.
Which I'm pretty sure the computers are going to
We
figure out
can't
before
even
we do.
drive safely on the streets. I can't even
We can.
imagine.
We just don't care.
And so, if you're in the air, you're going to care more. you're going to be more arrogant. You're going to think I can outmaneuver that guy.
That's always been something that's amused me, is believing the Jetson thing, where everybody's going to have a car that just takes off and flies around. I can imagine
And
what
folds
this
up
would look
into
like.
a pocket-sized thing.
I can imagine what this would look like if everybody had a car that could fly.
Well, we can return to the idea of these little robot things delivering meals.
Bumping
We'll
into
see
things.
how they're doing before we launch
Which is why you should
into.
always be very nice to those things. You know. If you're going to kill one, make sure it doesn't see you.
I thought it was really
The
cute.
rest of them will.
Well, it was being very careful.
It was cute.
And see, this is, we're getting stuff that other people are not going to get for a long time. You know, this is not something that's going to go to a small town for a long time.
No, because
The same
it's
thing,
not economically viable.
right? The same thing with many things that are being changed. The first place they're going to change them is going to be in the bigger cities because of the density issue.
Oh, fuck.
What?
I just had a
Brain
analogy
fart.
pop in my head.
Well, good.
Why are small towns dying?
Because farms and industry are dying.
Why?
Because people have decided that, number one, farms should be big, and number two, that we don't need factories anymore.
Why?
Because people are greedy and they can charge more and build things for less
Why?
overseas. Because,
Oh my God, I haven't said why this many times since I was 5.
well, you're not gaining anything though. What do you think?
No, you're leading right to where I'm going.
Okay, well,
It's
where are you
fucking
going?
big box. We're big boxing in the country.
There you
all
go.
the little shops got closed down because Walmart moved in. Now we're closing all the little towns down and pushing everybody in the city.
Yeah.
Why? Because it's cheaper. Population density, more people, you can buy in bulk.
Okay, here's my question, and you may not qualify to answer it
I
because you're
definitely
not old enough.
Good. I
But
find that insulting.
people sit around dreaming up scenarios for the future. We've done this forever.
Yeah,
and
being
how,
a futurist is a old
and
hobby.
how accurate have we ever been on predicting it?
Very rarely.
Well, there are portions. See, I mean, it's hit or miss. I mean,
You can say the Star Trek communicator resembled
Yeah.
the flip phones of the late 90s, early 2000s.
Which is why we have flip phones, maybe, so we can pretend we can do that.
well, you guys continue because I'm going to go get some alcohol. Do you need some?
Buy the profits from that machine.
Well,
Actually,
then why would they do that? Then
Well,
why
Because they're still going to make more money in the long run.
I don't know whether you remember, we participated in a Quality Circle program in Greenville, Michigan, when we were at the factory there. And one of the requirements was, as the Quality Circles put programs in, that they had to do exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You had to figure out what to do with people that were being displaced,
Yeah.
and give them scholarships, and give them buyouts. There were all sorts of things we looked at. And what the company did was they closed the factory and then took the work to the other factories they had that they didn't have to pay anybody on.
Yeah.
So there was a maneuver that went on, and I'm pretty sure if you try and put a plan like that into place, that that maneuver will take place over and over again. They'll do something like, well, we have a job for you. You live in
Ohio.
in Idaho in Nessa or someplace like that, and in order to keep the job, you've got to move to South Carolina,
Yeah.
something along those lines. But going back to retirement,
Where are we on this little sheet?
We're at the bottom.
Oh,
At the bottom.
Returning to the conversation of retirement, after Rocky and I just eviscerated
Zoomed
Joe while he was gone.
That's fine. I'm used to being
Some
eviscerated
serious
by
zingers.
Rocky.
It was amazing. I have learned things about you I did not want to know. Yikes. Okay.
Oh no.
That is completely made up, by the way.
Oh no.
Yeah. Okay.
he's stirring up trouble.
I think he is. And there is another good thing about retiring in Chicago.
Yeah.
And that is that since everyone thinks everyone's moving out of Chicago, which is actually
Not
the
true,
case.
because I'm trying to find an apartment in Chicago right now, and it's
hard.
impossible.
Yep.
So, thank you.
But it means that you can rent a moving truck relatively cheaply
Oh, yeah.
because
There's lots of
everyone's moving out of here. Well, they really aren't. There are people moving out, there's no doubt.
There's a lot of places for sale, but the prices are still way inflated from the last 5 years.
Which even with that,
And
it
I
is
partially
still
blame the real estate market and the marketers and the realtor people.
it is still significantly cheaper than either LA or New York.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
And we're not even
orders
going
of
to talk about San
magnitude.
Francisco.
Orders of magnitude cheaper. And you're not in a position that you're going to be spending a lot of money that you don't even keep track of now
Yeah.
because you're in a position that you're isolated from everything.
Yeah.
So
You still get to do stuff. Also, you do have not only the robots, but delivery of just about anything and everything you might need
in the long run,
very
that is-
quickly.
yeah,
Waiting for a car to come and pick you up and take you somewhere.
yeah.
There are so many places in this country where that's not even an option. It's not even
Yeah.
a service that's available. And if it is, it's, oh, we can pick you up at 11 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. That's the soonest we can get you. It's now 12 o'clock on Thursday.
And
We'll get you in a
generally-
week.
Yeah, and generally, Uber around here is about between 6 and 10 minutes,
Yeah.
somewhere around in there.
Depending on
And-
the time of day, depending on the time of day,
And
so on and so
to
forth.
what you were saying about, we're
You can get around.
mobile enough now
Yeah.
that we don't need to have things delivered.
But you
But
can.
in the back of our minds,
It's there.
that is not a small deal. We have
Yeah.
ordered stuff when, let's say it's blizzarding and the wind's blowing 80 miles an hour and we just didn't want to walk. And we've had stuff delivered during those periods of time. And surprisingly, it's not as expensive as DoorDash or Uber or anything like that to have groceries delivered.
Yeah.
It still costs something, but it is not in any way something that's going to make up for a $1,200 car payment and $150 a month for your insurance.
Right.
Uh-oh, someone's looking something up.
Yeah.
What are you checking on?
Real estate prices.
Oh, okay. And what is it?
Everything's too expensive. The rent is too damn high.
Well, and it is. What's happening around here is there are groups of people that are buying the heck out of rental property.
And jacking up the prices there.
And we talked about this last week where a guy bought a group of apartments. I don't know how big it was, and everybody was paying $900 a month. Everyone had their monthly fee raised to either $1,500 or $1,700, depending on where they were and how big the apartment is, I guess. But even here in this building, I've been told that they have some inexpensive places for like $800 a month, but those I think are eaten up by Section 8 people.
Okay.
And the about what 1,200 to 1,400 for a studio, somewhere around in there. The cheapest one, I did some research. I found one thing up closer to Howard that was $700. No, yeah, $700 a month.
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, and I don't know why it's still
It's
available.
also, you have to be like Section 8 to be able to afford that,
Gotcha.
or something to that effect.
But
You got to show hardship.
if you were in Los Angeles or New York and said I can get a studio apartment
Oh, yeah,
for
they'd be like,
$1,500, they
"Are
would
you
go
kidding
like,
me?"
"Well, no."
They'd knock you down and grab it
Oh,
themselves.
hell yeah. Or, knock you down and steal your identity.
Not
See, another
mine.
thing that I have discovered in this most recent foray into renting is that you used to be able to go onto like Craigslist and find just stuff
sublet.
just stuff that the owner posted.
Ah, okay.
But it's been like the real estate marketers, the realty people have realized that they can make money swooping in, taking over the listing. So they'll actually like either post, say, hey, I offer this service, and then the rentee pays them a certain
A
amount
fee.
of money to have them go put somebody in the apartment, and then they jack up the rent considerably to pay
The fee.
realty person. So you got the people monopolizing the region en masse and forcing up rates, and then you got the landlords going, "Oh, I can charge more because that guy's charging more," and then you've got the property taxes obviously are also contributing some to that. So that's another little slice of the stack of slices, and then you got these realtors going in, pushing themselves into a place where they weren't before, where it used to be, oh, there's a sign out in front that says for rent. At worst, you'd like go through the reader and you'd see a $5 personal ad placed for apartment for rent,
Right.
and you'd get a reasonably priced apartment. Now the realty fuckers are going around seeing the for rent signs, co-opting it, and calling them up and being like, hey, raise your rent a little bit, give me the difference, and I'll go find you good people and I'll vet them for you.
Oh, okay.
Well,
And I guarantee you their vetting is bullshit,
Yeah.
because they gave me places when I should not have gotten them, and they have given me shit that didn't exist because they didn't actually run my credit properly.
impossible.
Oh yeah, seriously.
You're saying
So
this-
there's
the
all
system-
sorts of people who are helping to contribute to the
Gouge.
fucked upness of our rental market here in Chicago.
Well, the Cubs must have won today.
They did.
The win flag is out.
The W flag is flying. Yeah, no, they did. They won right after I walked in to set up.
Okay.
Go Cardinals.
Well, I think we're pulling near the end here, even though
Well,
we usually
we don't actually have a
set time.
hard set today, or normally. The last time was how do I say?
a little long last time.
It was actually fine, but it was a talk with Gil, and I had a hard stop. That's the problem. Every time we talk with Gil, it's the Gil show, and it's a good show to watch.
Yes, and we only wish that we have quarters to put in him so he can take off.
Oh
That's
no,
for
just
sure.
have to keep giving him alert. He's a alert-powered philosophy machine.
There is that too.
Yeah, I was out last week, so we didn't have one last week. This one's late because of other reasons. I'm thinking next week we'll probably be able to either do a Monday or a Tuesday, depending on what your schedule's looking like.
Tuesday's bad because I've got,
You got the
the
meetings?
co-op meeting.
Okay.
Yeah,
I could do a Wednesday, but it's got to start at 4.
that's no big deal.
Also, we need to talk about schedule.
About what?
About scheduling
Okay, no problem.
and guests and topics and
Yeah.
shoes and chips and sealing wax.
shoes and chips and sealing wax.
Yes.
I feel like I should know that reference. Shoes and chips and sealing wax.
Cabbages and Kings.
Yeah, I don't recognize that. What's it from?
Lewis Carroll,
Okay.
I believe.
It's been a long time since I read Lewis Carroll.
Yeah.
Well, mathematicians are like that.
Me?
No, Lewis Carroll
Lewis
was more
Carroll,
a mathematician
yeah. Yeah, he
than
was.
a writer.
Yeah.
And that's why my writing will probably be remembered better than everything else I do, and I've never published a thing.
So, anyway, we talked a little bit about living here and the fact that...
So, can we say Chicago's a terrible place to retire? Please don't come here.
We could say that. That would be a bad thing to do.
Leave stuff for me.
Well, I mean, there is that I'm here, no one else.
I'm
We have a
pulling up the
tendency to-
ladder and
Yeah.
you're not getting on board.
Yeah.
Pull the
and,
ladder up
you know,
behind you.
what's amusing to me is that very much anchored into California.
Yeah.
And, you know, I lived in California from the time I was 3 years old. And at that point, actually, they encouraged people to be moving to California because there were jobs and the state was growing. We used to actually, Ontario, California, every year had something called the All-State Picnic.
Okay.
And they had a massive main road going through town that had a huge green buffer in it. And they would actually put the various states in various portions of that
Okay.
street during the all-state picnic. So during that period of time, it was very much, everyone was encouraged. Everyone was pretty much moving there at that time. There weren't a whole
When
lot.
was this?
It was during the 50s and 60s,
Okay.
somewhere around in there.
Well,
And I think they still do it, actually. And you know, of our family, the only Californian that is a naturalized one, meaning born there,
Is your
is
brother?
Kevin, and he moved to Washington immediately. so he's even away from California. But the not in my backyard is very much one of the problems they have in California.
Yeah. Well,
And here too.
it's a common thing just about everywhere. I don't even have a backyard, so.
Neither do we. We have an alley and a front yard. But
Ooh,
again,
that's what I need to do. I'm going to yell, "Not in my alley," the next time somebody's causing a ruckus.
that only happens a little bit. We're getting into summer here, so the Sundays are going to be fun.
It was nice the one time about 5-6 years ago. Loyola kids who were in a unauthorized frat opened up a frat house right next to mine in the basement. It was just this weird apartment that had a top and a bottom level, like bottoms in the basement. So they decided to do out the basement as the party room.
That's a good
And-
idea.
Oh yeah, it's a great idea, except for the fact that it's like wedged in between a bunch of residential places with little kids living there.
That's
No
not
problem.
good.
There's a 7-year-old living on the first floor. I'm up on the third floor. I can hear him in the basement on the third floor with my windows closed.
They can't get the baby to sleep.
That boy needs his sleep. And, so there I was, went downstairs, pulled out my little
Grumpy
folding
John.
chair, set it out in front on the front lawn, and proceeded to be old man Pruitt, and was like, "Get off my lawn! I'm gonna give you little fuckers half an hour. Right
And then
now,
I'm calling the
right
cops.
now it is 11:30. No, I'm not calling the cops. I'm giving you a half hour. If the music's still coming in half an hour, I'm coming in. I'm gonna drink all your booze. I'm gonna do all your drugs. I'm gonna molest all your women. I'm gonna molest the rest of you after that, and you'll see what it's really like. So, you got half an hour.
Did this ever work?
Kinda.
They
Okay.
were
really-
too drunk by the
a
time you
really-
got to them with the
A
message.
really big guy tried to come out and fight me.
Oh,
Like, in a fair fight, he would have just decimated me. But I had a little friend with me, and I was sober. And he was blitzed. And you would have been in the hospital, and I would have been up on charges, but it would have been worth it.
Yeah.
Oh, I think
They didn't do anything again during the
again,
week.
you're giving the impression of people that don't know you that you're some sort of violent guy, which is actually
I so
not
want
true.
to be. I haven't
Which
punched
is-
anybody outside of a sparring match since I was 13. I just have very violent impulses that I rein in really well. But
I could say something here that would be
I can
very
be
nasty.
scary looking.
Well, this actually matters.
Okay, well, say
That
it.
matters.
Say
That's
it.
it. Bluff.
Say your nasty thing.
Huh?
You're
what?
going to say something.
No, I was going to say that is something that works for all animals. I mean, if you could look,
Yeah. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, then you go, fuck.
well, yeah, trying to look big and mean around a grizzly bear is probably not going to help, but
Well,
Black-
they'd
black
probably be
bear-
rolling around laughing.
a chihuahua
A
won't work
black
either.
bear would probably be like, "Oh, okay, man, you must be drunk. I'm not gonna mess with you right now.
You're crazy. I'm
You're
leaving.
dumb. You're dumb and crazy. I don't need this trouble." The grizzly bear will be like,
Food.
"Hey, this snack is gonna taste funny."
Well,
All right.
anyway, we've talked about absolutely nothing for the last 3 or 4 minutes. We appreciate everyone showing up and listening to this.
And I think this was the 24th.
It is the
I
24th.
think this was the 24th. I got to go back and double check. We need to. Another thing we need to talk about is like reestablishing the timetable. And I'm also wondering if we should split it into seasons.
Okay.
So we can do season 2, episode 1.
Oh, there you go.
Then we
can
got to
do
start
that.
titling them
Well,
absurd names.
Okay, we can
that
do
would
that.
be after we've recorded it, right?
I hope so.
So we don't bore everyone to death with possibilities in the future. We will say goodbye. And thank you for watching again. Please subscribe. Give us a thumbs up at some point. That would be helpful. And hopefully Rocky and I will still be together next time.
Where would we be?
It's more along the lines of, will you drown him in the tub? All right, thank you.